Hello everybody, it's me and Fiona again, and yes, it's the same day. It's the same day. You know, something that's been on my mind heavily lately, and I have to say it has to be in response to rereading Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. But he talks about the feminine, and I've talked about this, but you know, I want to take the angle as a woman in this body. And I often, ever since I showed up on the planet, my parents, they basically, while I had two older brothers, I played with them like I was a little boy, and until I started to grow up and get bigger, and they wouldn't let me play with them as much as they did when they had no choice but to play with me. But my parents raised us separately and differently, and I get that. You know, that's the culture we live in. Girls do this, boys do that. I get that. But as I grew up and I saw the way boys handled little girls, not always in such a respectful manner. No, even when you were a good girl like I was, you still had to kind of deal with some mannish behavior. We call it mannish. Basically touching you in ways that you don't want to be touched, and you have to almost fight to stop them. Okay, and the older they got, the less they did that. But the little boys where I grew up were doing that, and then now as I got older and start to develop more, I just noticed how men were toward women. And now that I'm much older and I think about men toward women, I struggle with it because because men have sexualized women in such a way till I still wonder if it were not for the sexual offerings, would you still value us? Would you still want to be around us? Would you still want one of us? I wrote a book several years ago, and I talked about how God created the woman for the man, and she must have been something special because there were animals he could have relationships with, and I don't mean sexual relationships, I mean just companionship. You know, a dog would work if you really don't need a woman, and that's not to degrade her, or an elephant or a lion or whatever. Any companion, a horse, these are great animals. They would work. So she must have a special place in the earth and in his life. But I don't get the sense that men get that by the way they handle women, the way they use women. And then women, of course, buy into it because they want the affection and the attention and the relationship with men, and so they kind of go along with things just so they can have that. So, but that's another time, and I'll talk about that another time. But right now, I just want to invite the men who are listening to this to consider the true value of a woman outside of her sexual body, her sexual self. Because let's flip it around. What if all women wanted from you was sex, and that's it? I mean, that's it. And I know initially that probably sounds kind of hot, but she doesn't pay attention to what you think. She doesn't ask your opinion for anything. She doesn't want you to do anything for her. Nothing. Just that. That's all she wants. She doesn't want anything else. That's the primary thing. You walk toward her, she's looking at between your legs. You walk toward her, she's trying to see how attractive you are. You walk toward her, she's paying attention to what you have on. She's not thinking about who you are, what you know, where you're from, what gifts you have. She's not even thinking about that. All she's interested in is getting you in bed. And again, that might sound kind of hot at first, but I can imagine that might get old. I just imagine. I could be wrong. But let me just say, in case that's not the way ideally you feel, I can speak for lots of us, and I know I'm not speaking for all of us. That's the way we feel. Women are probably the most important mammal on the face of the earth. But I don't get the sense that anybody, including us, really know that. And I just had to say it because I think we need to look to women more than we look into them. And I'm talking about the ones that are conscious and the ones that are thinking, not the ones who are bought into, I have to be a certain way, look a certain way, do it a certain way to get a man. But I'm a valuable asset to this planet, and I have something to offer, and I really would love the opportunity to offer it without the attachments of some sexual favor for that is material, that's not going to last. But my whole point though is, are you valuing the women in your life past the sex, past the intercourse, past the smash, which is such an ugly word, but I'm sorry, I get off. I get off. I lose track. Oh, guys, this is just not cool. Anyway, I'm out. And I just want to hear what you think. This is important to me. I don't know if any other women feel this way, but it's important to me. So let me just hear what you think. All right. And I think I'm done for today. I think that's quite enough. Next time, Dr. Deborah.